Hey, what's up, guys? So what we have here is a HEMI head. The heads just got back from the machine shop, just got milled. This one has a lot of small porosity in it. That's why I asked for new heads. This head was run and had oil in it, but that won't affect it. But could look a little bit better. But this head is got the bronze guides in it. It's got the porting done, so that's the exhaust port, polished. It's got the chamber welded and shaped. There's the intake port. I don't know how well you could see it. Biased intake port on this one. Now the HEMI heads, they have a longer, a thicker short turn radius, and a better valve angle, the cantered valve. That's what really helps these head to flow more, especially with the stock seat setup. But here's a look at some of the views of it. What I'm going to be doing now, the customer just let me know that he was going to be getting stainless valves, so I have some stainless valves here. So just taking a look at it. So that's it with the stainless valves. Now I had sized these to the stock valves, and I don't know if anybody is familiar with the stainless steel valves, but they're actually a little bit thicker on the guide than the stock. They have a little bit thicker stem than the stock valves. So what I'm going to do is just run the hone down through there, and just a quick little pass on each of them and give it a good feel. Doesn't take much. And then we'll try them back in. Now, a way to check if your seats are cut concentric is by bouncing your valve. And you want to hear like a bouncing sound. Now these valves, I'm not quite hearing it. Let me grab another head and give you an example of what I'm talking about. Look at that for a second. I know it's beautiful. So I have another head here that I'm taking the bubble wrap off of. This head here is for a customer. And now you don't need to see it, but just listen. Hold on. Hear how they're bouncing? So that bouncing sound lets you know that that seat is dead on concentric. If you don't hear that bouncing sound, like this, it could be a couple things. One, in this situation, I think the guide needs to just be honed a little bit more. Another thing could be that the seat's not 100% concentric. Now this head is going out tomorrow, so that's why I'm kind of set up in here to do the guides, the valves. Not really bouncing. Kind of pushing them up kind of too far, but so what I'm going to do now is give it a quick blast with the 45 and see if we can find that sound. So what I'm doing now is just putting in my guide, my pilot, and here's my 45 cutter. Switch my drill over from my hone. Now I'm just going to cut this really light and quick. Now we'll check it again with the valve to see if we have any bounce. Yep. See how, well, these valves are a lot lighter. But you can hear, even just from that one little second of the brrr, that I might be able to hit this just a little bit more. Put the pilot back in. This time I'm going to dress my cutter with a little bit of the cutting fluid. Let me just grab my brush. Just going to make sure this cutter is very clean and give it one more quick tap. See if we can get a little bit better speed. Now I was truly applying like zero pressure to that cutter. I was just basically letting the cutter get in there and go to work. Just wipe off some of the cutting oil. Now let's check a valve again. Now I have done enough of these to know that that sounds perfect. These are a much lighter valve, so they have a very kind of tap. So now we'll do the intake. Same thing. Now the intake valve's a little bit heavier, so you should be able to hear it a little bit clearer. That's not really making it, so we will put the pilot in the intake valve side. Clean my cutter. Give it a quick shot of the New Way spray and give it a quick blast. Now mind you, this is without even lapping the valves. This type of system gets your valves pretty much dead on, you know, and then you just go in there and you hit them with a, you know, some extra fine lapping compound and a suction cup on there, and like, you know, it's done. Those are lapped at that point. So let's check this intake valve again for that sound. And I know you guys heard that you know, you've heard that. So when it gets that sound, sometimes these lighter valves, because the guides are so small, there's so, you know, there's so much, you know, for such a small guide and such a small stem, there's so much like resistance, and you got to set the clearances tight because you don't want a sloppy valve. So I mean, and the valve has like no weight to it. See, sounds good. Let's check that exhaust again. This exhaust valve is so light. I don't know if it's gonna do it. It's making me look crazy. But I've done enough of these seats where I know that those smaller valves, you know, I know when they're good or not. I have a runout gauge that I could throw on this just to double check and 100% verify, which I will before it goes out. But, and then I'll lap them real quick. And when I lap the valves in, that makes them even more perfect. That other head that I brought over that I bounced the valves on, that's pretty much in bubble wrap, ready to go out. So this is just a look at the HEMI heads. How I dial in the valve. It's such like a back and forth process. You know, even when you do something, especially when you're doing epoxy work in the ports and you have to go back in there and sand that, you know, you're dialing in, you know, you kind of keep bringing things, you know, you do a little bit on this side, do some port work, do a little bit on the seat and the bowl, do a little bit on the port side, do a little bit on the seat and the bowl, do a little bit on the port side. And you keep bringing each side closer and closer to right now where I'm bringing, and I will tell you, this short turn, when I run my finger over it, it feels flawless. And when I take my finger and go from this epoxy like into the seat, I mean, that feels just absolutely gorgeous. So I'm gonna finish up here and finish up doing this valve job. But this is Paul, and this is Paul's Carts. And this HEMI head is just about ready to go. So one last look. Predator 212 HEMI head. This is Paul from Paul's Carts, and I hope you guys have a nice day.